Welcome back, everybody, to another episode here of NFT Pirates. And guess who we have in the house today? It's Will from Cryptoys, the CEO and founder, and the guy that was able to land, Disney and do all these crazy things in such a short amount of time. Dude, thanks for coming on finally, man. This is great.
Happy to do it, Chad. Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you because I have to admit, man, that unboxing experience is like so unique. It's like unlike anything other I've seen, in the NFT space. So how did you guys like create that? That's like, was that something you thought would be really important?
So I think a lot of folks might know the story. Maybe some folks don't know, but this whole company really was inspired by my now 11-year-old daughter, Victoria. She was 6 at the time when this started off as a side project. And it was really on her love for surprise unboxing toys, like blind bags in the actual physical toy space. These are things like LOL Surprise, Hatchimals, Disney Doorables, things like that, where you're kind of like buying a surprise box. You don't really know what's inside of it. And she was just really captivated by that stuff and the whole unboxing experience there. So when we decided that we wanted to create what would the toy of the future look like and bring that to the digital world, the unboxing experience was paramount. And if you think of like from a toy perspective, and again, we identify first and foremost as a digital toy company and how to create cool digital toy experiences.
Right.
It's like, remember when you and I were kids, one of the best parts about getting a present was unboxing the present or unwrapping the present, right? It's just like there's something incredibly toyetic and something that taps into your inner child is like unwrapping something. And we just wanted to nail that experience as best as we can. And we thought to ourselves, okay, if we're going to create, and aim to create the world's premier digital toy company, well, we have like a blank sheet of paper to do a digital unboxing experience, because in the physical world, you're limited to like physics and gravity and manufacturing and
Mm.
plastics and all these like kind of things that you can only do certain things with. But in the digital world, there's no limitations. You could have anti-gravity, you could have certain music happen and certain effects and things go on. So we're like, if we have a blank sheet of paper and our imagination can run wild, what would be like the craziest like unboxing experiences for a toy? And that's kind of how like the whole like thought process started with that.
Wow. That's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, I love what you said just about like, almost like unwrapping presents at Christmas, because that's
Yeah.
exactly how I was when I went for the drop. I was like, I just wanted to buy things just to see the whole unboxing experience
Yeah.
again, right? And what's kind of the take on once you open something up, you have the choice to unpackage it or
Mhm.
not. And what would that mean, I guess, for people coming in?
Yeah, so like in the physical toy space, you see this a lot. Like, actually, let me go ahead and I can grab one here, right? Like,
Yeah.
so like here's a Ninja Turtle action figure, right? In a blister pack, right? Now, there's really kind of two sets of toy consumers and buyers, right? You have the collectors that keep them in mint condition in the blister pack with the card and the whole packaging. And then you have other people that like to play with toys. Those people will just rip this thing open, mess with Donatello, articulate it, put the accessories on them, etc. So we wanted to replicate that choice. Are you more of a collector or are you more of a player? Do you like to play with toys? And just that
Mhm.
second layer gives you the choice. And there's on the Cryptoys platform, there's benefits to having both. There's benefits to keeping it in the blister pack, but then there's benefits that you'll only be able to do if the toy is out of the package. So it's really up to you on what type of consumer you are. Do you like to collect things or do you like to play with things? We see a lot of people do both. They buy one to keep in mint condition, and they buy one to unwrap it. So that was kind of the idea behind it. We want to give people that choice to keep it in the package or not.
That's such a cool idea. I love that because then it gives you like the collecting avenue, but
Yeah.
then also like, the playful aspect if
Yeah.
you want to use it in a game and what have you. And so like, okay, I'm just gonna go left field here, but like let's say I have, a game that obviously I know I've seen some stuff that you're
Yeah.
developing. But let's say like I have something that's still, not unboxed yet, and it's like one of the key players in the game, a potential game. Is that something that like could really be go up in value or be sought after by a lot of people kind of thing if it's
Yeah.
not unboxed?
I think the possibilities are there depending on how the community grows. I mean, we can't
Right.
speculate on value after the fact, but I
Yeah.
will say that there's certain utility for wrapped toys in the blister pack, and there's certain
Mm,
utility that's only for the ones that are out of the packaging. So,
right.
we were very mindful in creating kind of two avenues for two very different sets of toy consumers, basically.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And dude, like as you've seen too, man, like the whole space has been, kind of through pretty deep trenches during the bear market, and like, digital collectibles obviously weren't at the forefront, but but you guys continue to build through it. You continue to bring some stuff out. I know that you have, the marketplace that's on the horizon. I don't know if there's been like an official release date for that yet, but that's coming up potentially.
Yeah, we're hoping to get that out soon here over the next few
Yeah.
months. So, that's actively in development, and we have a very unique kind of approach to the marketplace so that we could welcome in people of all ages, but then also give, folks like us, certain avenues for liquidity and aspects like that. So, stay tuned. We're very excited about that. We've invested a lot of time and energy into getting the marketplace strategy dialed in. So yeah, there's like a lot that's really baking here. This should be a very exciting, next like 3 to 4 months, I would say, for Cryptoys, just because we have so much that's being built right now that's scheduled to be released. I'm just really excited to get it all out.
Dude, that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And I don't think people appreciate how long the development time
No.
takes, and like, and the fact that you're working at this pace and you'll be able to get it out. I feel like people in crypto, they just want things immediately,
So I wanted like absolutely, and even as somebody that's in my seat that runs a startup, and this is not my first tech company. I've started a tech company and sold it before, so
Wow.
it's not my first rodeo. But like even it catches me by surprise. Just whatever you think it's going to take, just like kind of double that, from an estimate at a minimum, right? Because there's always things that you'll never foresee that will come through the pipeline, and then like this space, and shout outs to all of my fellow companies that are in the space, whether it's VV or Pinnacle or Flick Play or HRO and McFarlane. Like anytime you're dealing with licensed digital collectibles, you should add more time to that, because not only do you have your internal stuff that you got to do and approve it internally, but then you have external approvals that have to be
Wow.
approved. So I like to say, like, if you were playing the startup, like build a startup, build a tech company game, like being in this space in Web3 and licensed digital collectibles is like you're playing the video game on expert mode. Like you better be ready, all
So
the different
true.
hurdles and things like that. But it's fun, and I'm very grateful. This is a fun job, and I love like just interacting with the community every single day, and we're excited. We're just excited to embark on this next chapter for the company.
Wow, man. That's like so many great updates, and like, and I've been seeing little like, tidbits here and there. I saw that one game that you were working on where I saw like a Cryptoy. It
Yeah.
almost looked like something like mobile, or like, I don't know, it just looked really cool. But it looked like a very like high-end game, like the way that it was moving around and kind of dodging different obstacles. Like that
Yeah.
was so what's that about?
Oh, sure. So, and by the way,
Yeah.
that preview, that's just like the core engine. Like we shared
Mhm.
that sneak peek, and like some members on the team like, no, we need to put all the front end graphics and all that stuff. We're like, no, let's just share the work in progress with the community. And that's basically just like the internal guts. It's like the engine, the unskinned, I would say, version of that particular experience. So you can imagine it will look even like 4 times better with all like the designs and all the skins and all the things implemented there. So what you're seeing is just like core engine work.
Wow.
And as a digital toy company, we pay close attention to what are the most popular play patterns in just gaming in general, because the idea is, okay, you have digital toys, how do you play with digital toys? So through different gameplays and experiences. So we look at what are the most popular play patterns these days. So
Mm,
if you look at gaming, you could see things like side scrolling games and match 3 games and obby games. Obby is short for obstacle course games. So those are things like Fall Guys and Stumble Guys and like that kind of thing.
cool.
And then in Roblox, if you look at Roblox, one of the most popular play patterns in Roblox are obby games, obstacle style games. So we wanted to create our own kind of Cryptoy version of that, and that's kind of what you're seeing there in the sneak peek. Yeah.
Damn. And it sounds like you really did your homework too, because I'm sure there's like a lot of analytics to go out, like what's most successful in other big companies like Roblox as well. And like
Yeah.
it's obstacle style format. And like with the toy aspect, it just looks like, I don't know, looks really cool. Like it looks easy kind of to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like it appeals to a large amount of people. And is there like incentives, let's say, for winning or completing things? Like is that, or is it just kind of like the fun of it all? Like,
We have a lot of different setups that
yeah.
will be coming out with the games that I think people will be
Whoa.
really excited about. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Dude, that's amazing,
Yeah.
man. I also have to go back to because when I like did that unboxing, I actually got one of the Darth Vaders, the one with like half the
Yeah.
mask. And I initially thought I got like the rarest one just because how cool it looked. I know it's still like I think it's like ultra rare or rare. But I just remember being like, oh my god, like that was one of the most amazing designs I've seen of Darth Vader yet. And what is that like experience like, with the design team, with the licensor, like what kind of level of approval is needed to like actually finalize a product to that, specificity?
Yeah, I'm glad you like. That's one of my favorite ones too. And that
Yeah,
that scene, I don't want to spoil it for folks, but the scene that rarity is based on, it's from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's the last episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series when Obi-Wan faces Darth, and there's also some other kind of ties into that. But it's such a great scene. I love that so much, and the team just knocked it out of the park with that particular rarity. Um, so getting that approved and getting that shipped, like that is a process, no doubt. Typically the way that it starts is you start with concept art, so 2D concept art, and you have like kind of a general idea of where you want to go, and then we work collaboratively with our licensing partners on the look of that sketch. So we kind of start off, there's a round of feedback, and we kind of go back and forth, and we work
wow,
collaboratively. Cryptoys is a little bit unique when compared to certain other projects, in the sense that we have our own unique style, like almost like a sense like Funko has
yeah,
like a style where it's like Funkoized. Like we have like Cryptoized, like it's all kind of Cryptoyified
wow,
effectively. Like, here I have one of the physicals, right? Like you can see like there's a certain
so cool,
proportions to it, shorter arms, bigger eyes, things like that, right?
wow,
So we have to take really what's an interpretation of the character and then make it cryptoified, basically. So we do a round of feedback. We give them our direction. They give us feedback. Then it goes into the next process, which is gray model. So you're taking the 2D concept and then you're making a 3D gray model of the character.
right,
And then, you're able to basically, work on the proportions. So like, how does this translate from 2D to 3D? That goes through a round of feedback. Once everybody's happy with the gray model, then you get into like the texturization of the gray model. So the colors and the textures and all these different things. And then that goes through rounds of feedback. And sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's not as quick, but that's the beauty of working with great partners that are engaged, is the end product. It shows the quality, because that's really a collaboration between our team and our partners' feedback, and it comes out looking as great as it does.
Holy, I feel like people really don't appreciate all that goes into it. Like I was even thinking just like what you said earlier, like dimensional awareness and like ensuring everything has that same look and feel, the same brand.
That's right.
And that's difficult. Like
It is.
because like that's a good point. Like are you overstepping onto the Funko side, or are you
Right.
going more on like, to realism, and then it's like, okay, no, we got to come back to our brand. So yeah, man, that's hard. I'm just thinking about that now. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
It's definitely a process, but it's a labor of love. And
Yeah.
we've been on record many times saying this. Like, we only take IPs, and we're grateful, because there's like a long list of companies, IP owners, that want us to produce Cryptoys for them.
Wow.
And we have to be very selective. First of all, this is a very resource intensive process, so we can't just do every single one that comes our way, but we make a point to only do IP of fan, like, that we're like personally fans of. So the
Cool.
the goal always is, when we do a Cryptoys experience, that it has to feel like a love letter from fans of the IP to fans of the IP. So
Mm.
we only take IP onto the platform that we know how to do justice, and we can really make it sing. And then we feel confident we could do that job.
Damn. Yeah, you can see it, man. And You know, a lot of people always say, "Oh, these digital toys, they're so easy to produce." They're so, like, you know, the profit margins are probably like 95%
Yeah,
compared to actual physical manufacturers. I know that's not true,
yeah.
but like, you know, can you I guess kind of just elaborate on that, because I think a lot of people just presume like, "Oh, well, they're just replications," and you know?
Yeah, no, I wish that was the case, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is very resource intensive. Particularly the crypto. I can only speak for our company because I don't
Right.
know what the other ones go through, but we are very resource intensive. Just to get a line out, it takes months, and we have to dedicate a lot of people to that process. So yeah, no, this is a labor of love. Like if
Mhm.
this was a restaurant, it would all be handcrafted from scratch, farm to table, nothing store bought. It is completely organic. It's as resource intensive and done
Love
by
it.
hand as it can possibly be, but we think that makes a difference at the end of the day in the end product. So it just is what it is.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, man. And like, you know, the other thing I was gonna ask you too is just like when I look at the quality, right? I'm always
Mm.
like, wow. You can tell there's like just a top tier kind of standard above some of the other products that I've seen out there. And so like I guess when it comes to, you know, back to collecting, do you anticipate like that being more of your target audience, like people that, you know, are really just like want to hold these kind of like in the packages, or do you kind of feel like maybe it's actually, you know, going towards more like youth and kids that want to play in these games? Or is there like, are you trying to hit all the different markets, like the older people, middle ages, or are you seeing kind of a trend in which direction it's going?
If we do our jobs right, I think we could be a blend of both. I mean,
Yeah.
the company that we really aspire to as far as demographic targeting and like just building a great brand is Nintendo. Like if you look at
Mm,
Nintendo, like that's a brand that kids love and adults love, right? Kids love Mario and people our age love Mario, right?
yeah.
It's family friendly fun, and that's really what we want to build at the end of the day. Um, we believe that there's going to be a healthy balance of both collectors and players. We do have a strong belief that whenever every platform and every Web3 or NFT company is saying we want to onboard the masses, right? That's like cliche at this point. Everybody has their own belief on where those people come from, but our belief and our bet is on the gaming side, and in particularly youth gaming, surrounded by play patterns like Roblox, and Fortnite and Minecraft. We think that translates very natively, like those, like you know how it is because you're like me, you're a Web3 NFT early adopter. Like when we go talk to our friends that are our age about this hobby, 9 out of 10 of them look at us like we're crazy, right? Like they just
Exactly.
don't get it, they don't understand it, they don't care for it. But who gets it right away are kids under the age of 15. Like if you told a kid, yeah, I collect digital items, they'd be like, so do I.
Right.
Duh, like they do that all day long. They collect skins on Roblox and Fortnite, and they they buy emotes, and it just makes perfect sense to them.
Right.
So I really believe the mass adoption is going to come from the youth that's growing up in this digital world where they have digital play patterns and things like Roblox. And as they continue to get older and they have their own purchasing power, this will be very native to them, and we'll get more people in the space. Because right now, that age group is still under the age of 15. The parents have to reload their V-Bucks or their Robux, right? And things like
True.
that. Once they have their own purchasing power, I think we're going to see the space grow in a big way because it's just kind of waiting for the next generation. And in the meantime, folks like us, the early adopters, are kind of keeping it at bay as best we can. But the space keeps saying we need the next 10 million, 50 million people. Where are they coming from? I'm confident they're coming through the next generation.
Right. And it's a waiting game, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
we're seeing small iterations like happen of like, you know, Apple Vision Pro comes
Yeah.
out, AR gaming, you know, you're kind of seeing where this is all going, right?
We've seen this movie before in Web 2 and in Web 1 and Web 2. And it was like, the adults thought the internet was a fad, right? Like, what is the internet for and all
Yeah.
this stuff? And then, we started getting on AOL, right, as kids. And then we're like, hey, these chat rooms things and this instant messenger thing is really cool. And then we became older, and then it just like social media became more commonplace, right? And then there was early adopter adults that adopted the internet, right? But they were more like the techie, experiment driven people like we are now in Web3, right? And you kind of have
Mhm.
to like, wait through that that age transition. I mean, remember when cell phones came out? I remember all the adults were like, why would I want someone to be able to reach me at any time? Like that
Right,
was like the argument. Like that sounds
right.
terrible for someone to be able to reach me at any time. And now that statement sounds kind of ridiculous, right? Because everybody needs to be reached and be
Yeah,
reachable. But again, it just had to come of age. So I think we're in the same adoption curve as
yeah.
Web3. And people get frustrated because they're like, oh, the masses aren't coming enough and this like that. But if you look at time and history repeats itself, that's the opportunity. The fact that you have to be in this waiting game, you are in the opportunity mode. And then it's all going to look obvious in hindsight. And then we're all going to be like, oh, of course, So,
It's
you know,
true. And that's like, if you play the patient game and the waiting game, it will pay off. And
right,
I always think about that. It's like the innovators, the imitators, and then the idiot. And it's like when I think about like somebody that buys like a big bag of crypto or something in a
right,
small project, but waits 3 months, and then that's really how you make it, right? But I mean,
right.
so it's just having the ability to kind of forecast and see where this is going. So I think that's really wise, Will. I
Yeah,
love
you got
that.
to be patient, especially in your space that, like, again, you're creating with a community and you're all building it from the ground up. There's no real rules defined here. We're all figuring this out as we go. Um, yeah, so I'm very bullish on this space. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
dedicating my career to it if I didn't believe with every fiber of my being that this is going to be a huge part of the future. I come to work every single day with massive conviction and massive energy and enthusiasm. So it's just about continuing to do the work, staying patient, staying hungry. And then I think if we do that, things will take care of itself.
I love that, man. And this is where I wanted to pick your brain too, because I came into this space and everybody knows I was like, oh my God, first appearance on the blockchain
Mhm.
and all this stuff. And the more that I've seen this space develop, the more I originally presumed that it was going to exasperate the importance of some of these items. But I think the more I'm seeing is it's like there's obviously like so many winners and players in this, and it
Yep.
also depends on like the functionality, the utility, all these different things that kind of come with it. And people, for instance, are like, "Oh my God, Darth Maul is the first on Cryptoys," like
Right.
but I was just curious, like I know it's a typical question, and I remember Gary Vee said like we don't know enough yet about
That's right.
where this is all headed to make some depictions on what's going to be the most valuable. But I know a lot of my users they're excited about that, right? That like they're kind
Mhm.
of like comic book guys that go and collect key things. And so I guess like maybe with the power of gaming that you're introducing, the power of community and collectibles, like maybe that's overrides the significance. But I was just curious, like just if you think that's something that I guess maybe be a niche thing that maybe people latch onto, or yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
The real answer is I don't know.
Yeah.
I get why people think FAs are valuable because like, that's collector mindset, right? Like you said, comic books
Right.
and things like that. You're always talking. What was the first appearance of Spider-Man? The first appearance of Iron Man? The first appearance of Superman. That was always big. We don't know if that's going to play out in the digital space. It may not. I have no idea.
Right.
We've also seen cases where it's on the other side of things that it was less about the first appearance of something on a specific line or toy line or collectible, and it was more so about where things gained critical mass, and there was just a lot of demand around that niche in
Mm,
particular, right? So, for example, is the first appearance as an action figure better than the first appearance as in a comic book? Is
right.
the first appearance on an advertisement available as a piece of memorabilia, right? Like
Mm,
there's all these like different niches to it, and I feel like what really wins at the end of the day is a critical mass of people with that interest going after it, and then it becomes a supply and demand thing versus like, okay, by default that cryptoy is more valuable because that was an FA. I don't know if that will play out or not. That's a hypothesis,
right.
whether it's FAs on other platforms or whatnot. I focus on the things that I can control, which is how do I make these sets of Cryptoys just as awesome as they can possibly be, and then as fun as they can possibly be? And I feel like if we do that and we attract enough people to our ecosystem, then it becomes a Cryptoys driven thing versus more of an industry wide driven thing.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I'm in control of personally. So I kind of just focus my efforts there, you know?
Dude, I have to admit that's probably one of the best answers I've heard yet about how that kind of stuff works, because I don't even think I thought about that. Like, is this the first, like you said, like chair that was
Right.
created by Marvel? And it's like, well, what
Right.
is that? What is it significant of it? There's our chair
Right.
collectors. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
so it's still way too early to kind of, and people are taking chances, they're speculating. But yeah, man, I mean that makes a ton of sense what you're saying.
Yeah, like believe it or not, there's an avid community of cookie jar collectors out there. Like I'm not a cookie jar, but like there is a community. There's a community of cookie jar collectors, and to them, there's certain first releases that are more important to them than to you and I in particular, with probably
Yeah.
some of the characters that we love the most. So again, I think it goes to these like sub categories more so than anything.
Yeah, man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And you've got a pretty big team, if I'm not wrong. It will, like every time I see you guys on YouTube, there's like 10 people talking and doing stuff.
Yeah.
So like what is like, I guess like there's designers, there's
Yeah.
community people, there's probably somebody at your level as well, kind of aiding in all this. Like maybe you can just give us a rundown of like kind of some of the stuff that some of the people involved. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, so we have, I would say our biggest teams is art, animation, and engineering. Those are
Wow.
really like the top as far as like, head count and how many people we have, because this is a very robust platform to build. It's, interactive digital toys that are completely rigged and gamified, and then you're building games and you're going through licensing approvals. It's a very complicated, intricate system.
Right.
So we need a team to be able to support that. So I'd say the majority of the team, I would say probably between 70 and 80% of the team is art, animation, and engineering. And
Yeah.
then it kind of rounds it out with marketing, community, biz dev, support and ops and research and legal and that kind of stuff. But we are very art, animation, engineering heavy for sure.
So cool, man.
Yep.
And I love too, like just like from a partnership level, like and just the way you view the other NFT projects out there, or the digital collectible projects, like is a lot of like, I don't know, like everything's pretty harmonious and people really
Mhm.
respect each other. And I think that's just like such an important piece, because this whole space needs each other to grow.
Yeah.
It's like when you go to McDonald's and there's like a Wendy's next to you, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say? Like
Yep.
that is such a key piece of the infrastructure. I think it's inevitable that it would get there anyways, but is there like any kind of potential partnerships or things that you would do to, like for instance, like working with Vivi on a project, or
Mhm.
working with Disney Pinnacle, or like is anything, or is that kind of just more of a periphery kind of, we respect each other,
I'm open to anything that pushes this space forward, that
right?
innovates and that shows that, this is a welcoming space that collaborates and builds unique things and products that appeal to the masses and to more people. So, it kind of looked through with that lens. And I'm very open to collaboration, with different platforms. If it makes sense for both sides, love to have those conversations.
Yeah, so cool. And
Yeah.
man, and you're seeing everybody come into it now, like even Funkos, right? Recently as well. I mean, that was a pretty damn cool, like Harry Potter. I think it like sold out like 500,000 copies or dollars.
Yeah.
I forget exactly what it was, but I'm like, so just a matter of time. And I guess too, like when you look at your analytics, right? And you're like seeing, who bought, like the targets, audience, and all these different
Yeah.
things. Are you kind of like forecasting on how to adjust, like future buy-ins, or what makes people captivated by these things? Like is there a lot of like insight there? And I'm just
Yeah, I mean,
curious.
we do our research and kind of determine what we think would be impactful, and we have our estimates, and we have kind of user trends and all that stuff, and then we kind of try to dial it in from there. So,
Man.
um, again, this space is so early and so new that it's hard to really get that dialed in 100% of the time, but you're
Yeah.
seeing the trends and you're able to make calculated analysis on like how do you think this drop's going to do, what's better for the next drop, learning from the previous one, and implementing that feedback on the future one. So we actually have some dedicated folks on the team that's in their entire job is market research and analytics and numbers.
Wow.
So and we look at all the drops and performance across the entire industry and see what's working, what's not, what's customer sentiment, what do people want to see, what do they want to see more of and less than, and things like that. So again, we're all learning together.
Amazing, buddy. Hey, listen, I know you're a busy guy, so I just wanted to get you on here for some rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
But dude, like I'm really excited about this. Like I said, just from the get-go, seeing what you're building looks incredible. I've been a part of it. I forget how many Cryptoys I have. I think of like 10 or 11. And
Awesome.
I kind of screwed up. I think I unboxed too many at first because I didn't really know. And then I was like, wait, I'm a collector. Like, can I put the box back on? But yeah, man, like, just want to know, like, you got my support. And I think everybody here was actually, can you get Will on your channel? Can you get Will on your channel? So like, I was like, yeah, okay, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we'll look out for some major updates in the next
Yes.
3-4 months. So probably
Yes.
around the summertime. And then, yeah, so excited to see that.
Yeah, appreciate it. And thanks to the whole community for supporting us and for sticking with us. We're not oblivious to all the things that people want to see from the platform. We hear everything, and we track everything. So I get all the when marketplace tweets and the when this, when that. And trust me, we are on top of that for you guys. And, we think it'll be a fun few months. And we appreciate your patience as we try to do something a little bit different for the space that we feel could benefit the entire space. We appreciate the patience. Sometimes once you take the genie out of the bottle, there's really no putting them back in. So sometimes you have one shot on goal to do something a certain way. And sometimes it's just like making sure you have all your ducks in a row before you do that. So we appreciate all the patience and the support. If you're frustrated and you're lacking patience, send me a DM and feel free to vent to me directly, and we can vent back to each other and we can chat and we can, share more about that. But we're working very hard and we appreciate the support. So just thanks to the whole community.
That's great. Thanks so much for coming on, Will. I really appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. Appreciate you.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.